Ah, yes. How good is that? That music can only mean one thing, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for round 5 of the SRL Project Cars 2 Asia Pacific League Season 3. And this time we are here at Donnington Park in the beautiful United Kingdom in northwest Leicestershire. And we are in for an absolute ripper here tonight. 25 laps around this circuit. And last week, of course, it was Waffles taking the win at Spa. And in doing so, ending the perfect start to the season from F1 Rocks, who sadly disconnected. Drivers getting caught up in first lap incidents. Waffles sneaking his way from 11th to 5th by the end of the first lap. Drama aplenty, and no doubt we're going to see more of that tonight as I welcome my co-commentator. It's been a bit of a crazy day for everyone, Rob, but it's great. We're all here and we're all back again for another week. Big hello to you.
Yeah, how you going, Trev? How you going, everybody? It's looking like a ripper of a race tonight, Trev. I think F1 Rocks wants to get back onto the podium. Bit of disappointment from last week where he disconnected, but Waffles broke the run of our series leader. He's still F1 Rocks is still a race win ahead in points, but everything can change if we have issues like you had last week. But Donington Park, it's a good little circuit. I think it's about 12 turns there, Trev. And every turn is difficult. This is one of those tracks where even just the slightest error, if you're offline or if you miss the apex by a couple mil, it's going to affect your lap time. There's not much you can do about that around here either, because it just seems to affect your whole lap when you make a little mistake. But we're going into qualifying now, and we're going to see who comes out on top of there. But it's looking like a humdinger of a race there, Trev.
Yes, and heading into this qualifying session, a 15-minute qualifying session here at Donnington Park. This evening, 12 turns, like you mentioned, Rob, 4.02 kilometres. And this circuit, a very rich history. We always like to delve into the history of every venue, every race circuit we visit on the calendar. Used as a military vehicle storage depot during the Second World War before it fell into disrepair. And then it was bought by entrepreneur Tom Wheatcroft. And it's hosted a single Formula One race, and what a famous race that was, the 1993 European Grand Prix. And many calling that the drive of the century, from Ayrton Senna, who made up a few places on the first lap. He did a bit of a Waffles. Waffles did that last week, like we mentioned, going from 11th to 5th. And interesting track here, and race notes, qualifying, some interesting qualifying notes coming your way as well. An expected pole time of a low 1:24. And maybe a high 1:23 if somebody can nail the lap. Ambient temperature 31 degrees. And we're looking at a track temperature of around 44 degrees Celsius. Like we said, 4 kilometres around this circuit as we take a look at Waffles coming out onto the track for the first time. It's one of the more traditional old school circuits, this one, Rob, but like any other track or many other tracks on the calendar, if you don't show it the respect it deserves, it can catch you out.
Yeah, it certainly catches you out, Trev, and I mean, you're just going through the history there. It seems like all the great British circuits were used for military purposes. Silverstone was used as a air base for a very long time, housing a Spitfire squadron during the Battle of Britain. But yeah, it's one of those circuits that can really, really catch you out, and only you can have very good drivers who go around here with some good pace, and they can pull out some good lap times. But you see the great drivers doing special things around here, like you mentioned, Senna in '93. He started on pole in an inferior McLaren with the Ford engine, dropped back to 6th. It was a very wet race. He was in I think first or second after crossing the line on the first lap, and that was a spectacular drive, a spectacular weekend to watch. But I think we got a few good drivers. We've got a few great drivers here. Full-on Rocks, I mean, certainly he's probably the best driver on the grid this season, isn't he, Trev? He just seems to pull out that 10th or 2/10ths when it really matters. He did that in qualifying last week at Spa. We thought it was all over and done with our mate Jason Wilkinson. He got the pole position and it just looked pretty comfortable when the old F1 and Rocks just smashed it off the table, I think, by about 3 or 4 tenths, which is just unbelievable in the conditions they're driving in. But HSV 140.6, and we got Mighty Move doing a 140.4. It's going to be an interesting qualifying there, Trev.
Yeah, certainly is, and it's going to be an interesting one. We mentioned that race. If my memory serves me correctly, I think Alan Prost in the Williams, he stopped that many times. I think he ran out of tyres in the end. I think it was 5 or 6 pit stops. So the boys from Williams not able to get it right on that occasion. Now, as we take a look at Truss, who's he's very, very slippery there early on in this session, is a set of 124.4. Now, we said that pole could be a low 124 indeed. They could slip into the 123s if somebody does nail a lap absolutely perfectly. And now we can just get a great sense of speed, the speed that they're doing around this circuit now, as we head up the hill now on board on bonnet cam with Truss. And he's just looking very, very racy, and he's showing some good pace early here. And currently on provisional pole position as we count down, just under 11 minutes in this qualifying session remaining, so plenty of time for everyone to get out and set a hot lap, Rob.
Yeah, it's plenty of time to get out and set a hot lap, but Truss has put down the gauntlet pretty quickly there. At 124.4, that's a quick time around here for these cars, but interesting corners to look out for. The Craner curves, turn 2 and 3, the downhill section. You can pick up a lot of speed going into the old hairpin, which is a very that's one of the corners that I've had probably the most difficulty with in any of these games. It's just so quick right-hander, and you just got to be on the mark when you get around there and use all the road, just like Craig Lowndes does with his driving. But yeah, it's just you're just going to be so committed around here. The amount of commitment you can see, just Truss getting that rear end, stepping out in that Corvette. I wouldn't say it's a high grip circuit in any sense, very high downforce, but mechanical grip, the asphalt doesn't really give you much for those tyres, so you're going to be seeing people sliding about. You'd see Truss there going around the old hairpin with the opposite lock on, just trying to keep that car as straight as he can, but it's a very hard circuit, this one, Trev.
It's a great sight, isn't it? These beautiful GTE cars, the Corvettes, the Fords, just in full flight around this circuit. That first and second sector, some famous corners, beautiful flowing corners. Redgate, the Craner curve. You mentioned, Rob, the old hairpin, Starkey's Bridge. So some terrific corners there as we take a quick look at Fubbles now, who's doing quite well so far this session. His best time at 125.133, and kind enough to remove himself from the racing line there. And around the Melbourne hairpin, we mentioned that opening lap from Ayrton Senna back in the 93 European Grand Prix. I think he passed 1 or 2 guys there at that corner. So very famous drive that one. Is now Waffles getting ready to go for his first run. Last week's winner, second run I should say. He's set a 125.2 as he comes through to have another crack at a hot lap here in this session. And we might just start nice and early with those famous jokes of ours as well, Rob. We've offended everybody from the southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere. We've had them all covered so far this season. Only 5 rounds in, but we might just go with a quick joke. What's the difference between the English soccer team and a tea bag? The tea bag stays in the cup longer. And that's just one for all our British fans out there. And hopefully those numbers don't decline after that cheesy joke, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, what's the difference between a 747 and a POM? 747 stops whining when they get to the airport. But, yeah, I mean, we've got to offend everybody. It just seems like a record at the moment. Truss, wow, big slide out of there going through the S's. But, yeah, we've just got a rotating roster. I think we talk almost every time after a stream who we're going to offend next week, and it's probably not a good thing to do, but it keeps our lives a bit interesting on the stream, doesn't it, Trev?
It certainly does. We absolutely love it, that's for sure, as Truss as 123.8. Have a look at that. This man is absolutely flying. And is he on another hot lap here? 7 minutes to go in this session. Just going out wide there to get a good run into Redgate through turn 1, heading towards turn 2 now. And that is going to be a very difficult time to beat. 1.1 seconds clear of Smokey in P2.
Beautiful into there, Trev. You see the car just hooking up all the way around there, and it's really hard to do, especially with just barely any grip on the circuit. You can see it's really not really rubbered in, but even when it's rubbered in, it just doesn't give you any grip. But yeah, Truss is on the move here today.
No doubt about that, and let's just recap and to give you an idea of how fast that time of a 123.833 is. The fastest recorded lap we've had in practice, Rob, and everyone watching at home, was a 124 flat, and the lap record for everybody out there watching at home, the lap record on the PS4 was a 123.940. This man is on world record pace tonight, Rob.
I think he's broken the record on the PlayStation already there, Trev. So Truss is the one to beat, isn't he there, Trev?
He certainly is, and well, bit of a fun fact. We love our fun facts. Hashtag Wilco's Fun Facts. F1 Rocks qualified 10th at Sakito, ended up winning the race. Waffles qualifying 11th at Spa, won the race. Does that mean that whoever qualifies 12th will win this week? We'll wait and see. Depends how superstitious you are. But I reckon also, too, just continuing our qualifying notes as we take a look at Sub-GT Racer. Hard tyres seem to be the way to go tonight, as the track a little bit too hot for the softs to work properly, Rob, but the hards will take a couple of laps to find good temperature and time. And it's very important to heat those tyres up to have as much grip as possible, isn't it, during these qualifying sessions?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, for one lap, those softs are probably going to be the tyre to be on for the race. Yeah, definitely hards all the way. It's weird to be at an English track and have actually perfect weather for once. It's a bit of a weird thing, but I mean, there might be somebody out there who's willing to take a risk on the soft tyre for the race, bump up those pressures so they don't warm up too much and they just stay in a good range. But I mean, it's all about tyre wear and tyre degradation, and soft tyre likes to fall apart like a good cheesecake. But yeah, certainly soft tyres will be on the cars for 1 or 2 laps. That's all they need them for. It's just that one quick lap, get it over and done with, and sit in the garage or just do some race preparation work, put a full tank of fuel in and trundle around. But Sub GT is our closest to our man Truss at the moment. He's still 7/10 off the pace, so that just shows how quick Truss is around here at the moment. That's world record time, and he's actually gone quicker by another 10th Truss, so that's just unbelievable, Trev.
Incredible. Speaking of unbelievable, a big hello. 11 viewers now on the live stream tonight. Grace is with us. Big hello to you, Grace. Thanks for joining us on the live stream tonight. Also to Connor, Elliot, hello everyone. So the Rob entourage up and about again tonight, and have a look at that. Just I know we've been talking about Truss. We may need a special Truss cam if he gets any quicker than that. He's gone even quicker. Look at that, a 123.721. He's managed to put in again off camera there, but 7/10 back to Sub and Cart Dude there. You can see that nothing between them. About 7 thousandths of a second between Sub GT in second and Cart Dude in third. F1 Rocks, Jono there, not too far behind either with a 124.5 there. And Jace, the man on your screen now with a 124.9. So Truss still very much in a league of his own tonight. And just a quick mention as well, we say it all the time, but if you want to get involved, we've had a couple of new drivers in Tier 2 as well during the course of the week. Just building up the numbers very nicely. www.supremeracingleague.com. If you want to get involved, head across to the SRL Project Cars 2 page. We'd love to have everybody on board, and more the merrier, Rob, in this championship.
Yeah, certainly more the merrier. And we've got a returnee this week. He's missed 2 races from tier 1 after he chucked the toys out of the pram. And the toys are back in the pram, and Nemo's back, Trev.
Well, I just was talking to him during the course of the week, and he said I might make a comeback. I've been retired for the best part of 2 weeks now, and he is back. But no, all jokes aside, it's good to see him back. He's a great comic value, and he's pretty handy in the car as well. And how quick is this man going to go? Enough of the dodgy accents. This man, Truss, on your screen is doing absolutely magnificently here tonight. And my boss just letting me know that he's got home okay. There's been a few storms around northeast Victoria, some flash flooding, but that's not for you to worry about. I am home safe. And I made it into the commentary box tonight. As let's have a look. A minute and a half left in qualifying. And Truss now, I reckon he's going to get ready for another run at this, Rob. Could he go even quicker? He's already set the world record. Can he go quicker than that?
I don't know, Trev. That's a hard one to say. I mean, when you got the world record time,
what more can he do?
Yeah, I mean, what more can you do? I mean, he's already beating everybody by over half a second. I mean, that's just ridiculous time. But I think we'll just jump on board with him like we've done the last couple of times this qualifying session. Have a look. But we've got the qualifying results for Tier 2 through, Trev.
We certainly do indeed. Big thanks for sending those through. Qualifying results for Tier 2, like you mentioned, Rob. Deaf Dude, Ned in second. Chase, Pointy, Familiar, GTR, John Dog. There's some interesting names there. John Dog, Thule, Compact as well. And just this is how good we are travelling tonight. We've got a live race update from Tier 2. We said, oh, Truss.
Yeah, Truss is around. Well, I mean, he's still got the world record time, and that's nothing to be sneered at, is it? I mean, what's the spin when you've got the world record, right?
He's heading back to the garage with his head held high tonight. But just recapping those current Tier 2 racing positions is Chase first, second, Familiar GTR, Ned in third, Pointy in fourth, John Dog in fifth, Compact sixth, Deaf Dude. Never heard of him. And Thule there getting a DNF in that race. So, and qualifying is complete now. And we're riding on board with Formula One Rocks, who just couldn't improve his time of a 1:24.581. What can Smokey do? And we've got half the field currently in the pits, but Smokey looks to still be on a hot lap. Best time so far, a 1:24.6, 9/10 of a second, almost a second off the Speedy Gonzalez Truss in P1. Oh boy, we say it about we're not betting men, but I'd hate to be putting my money on anybody else but Truss in this race here tonight. Although there could be some carnage at turn 1. A lot of blind corners here as well, Rob. So traffic also might be an issue tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those circuits where it's a case of hear no evil, do no evil, and see no evil. It's, I mean, there's so many blind corners around here. It's weird. I mean, you could be going around just any corner around here, and somebody could have a spin in front of you, and they could be sitting in the middle of the track, and you just got nowhere to go, and you collect somebody. I've done that too. I think I did that to Kart Dude. We did the Porsche race around here earlier in the year, and he had a spin, and I came along, and I let's just say that Porsche's out for parts now. If you want to buy some wings or a front splitter, that's just contact Kart Dude. But yeah, Truss on top with a 1:23.7. That's an unbelievable time there, Trev.
Let's just put that into perspective. Thank you, Rob, because Truss on pole position with a 1:23.721. And that is hot, hot, hot. That is world record pace on the PS4. The fastest lap ever in the history of humans around this circuit. Let that sink in for everybody at home. And Kart Dude could only get within 6/10 of him in P2. Sub-GT race, a good result for him with a 24.4 there in qualifying. Ahead of Formula One Rocks, Smokey in 5th, Jason Wilkinson in 6th. And Waffles in 7th, Fubbles in 8th as we continue down the order. Mighty Murph in 9th, V8 Man in 10th. Hopefully he can get a good result tonight. Nemo, the comeback kid, in 11th, HSV. Big Dino McKinnon in 12th, Andy in 13th. And Mickey, you're so fine, not so fine tonight that you're not blowing my mind in 14th ahead of Womp in 15th. 15 starters for this race tonight, 25 laps. And you are watching it live and exclusive on the Kidbyers YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all that usual sort of stuff that YouTubers tell you to do. Connor Elliott saying, nice time, Truss. Very nice indeed. And you've got to say, that time, very nice. That's a masterpiece of understatement, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, I feel slightly emasculated now. I think I'm going to buy myself a big pickup truck and jack it up to hide my shame. But that's an unbelievable lap by Truss, and just pats on the back to him, because that's world record time. I mean, what can you say? That's unbelievable to go around here that quick in a GTE car. I don't know what to say, Trevor. I'm honestly speechless. I've never seen a car go around here that quick with so much weight. So yeah, well done to Truss.
So Truss, can he convert that stunning world record lap into a race victory here tonight? That is going to be the big question. And there are a lot of factors here tonight. Like we said, 25 laps. And if my computer will work with me here, we can see that it's a mandatory pit stop tonight. Not sure whether an undercut will work. Could depend if you're stuck behind someone, but here we go. We're ready to go racing. The drivers staring down into turn one. The lights come on, they are out, and they are away. And Truss has a bit of a slow start off the line, and Cart Dude takes the lead. Truss put back to second place. Formula One Rocks up to third briefly, then down to fourth. Cart Dude in the lead as they head around turn one. They're side by side, and Truss is not giving him an inch. But it's Cart Dude with his nose in front, heading through lap one. Up towards the Craner curves, it's Cart Dude. Slightly ahead of Truss in P2, who lost the lead off the line. Then it's Sub GT in third. Formula One Rocks in fourth. Jason in fifth. Ahead of Bubbles in sixth. But what a start from Cart Dude. He got the perfect run off the line down into turn one, Rob.
Yeah, he got a fantastic start. Just Truss's Corvette just bogged down there. Plenty of power in the Corvette, but don't expect him to give up too easily. I mean, he just set the world record time around here, and you can see he's already racing. I mean, they don't seem too close at the moment, but you can see Truss is already lining him up, just looking down the side, down the other side, having a look to try and get the pass done, and right up on the bumper there in the braking zone. But yeah, that's fantastic racing from both of them on the first lap. It could have ended in disaster on turn one, but they just held their line, eyes down, thumbs up, and yeah, just respectful racing from both of them.
So through to complete lap one. Truss is awfully close behind Cart Dude as well there. Jason Wilkinson in P6 as he crosses the line to complete lap one. Nemo up to P9. And I reckon Truss, the corner cutting here at Donnington Park on this game is very, very strict indeed. And especially going into those Fogarty S's, the chicane there, Rob. It doesn't take much to get caught out, but Truss there, he's got a bit of a red mark against his name, so he may have a penalty early on in this race, but now the job is to stay focused, don't get frustrated, just stay on the back, bide your time, and it's much easier to chase than to lead, and all of the pressure now going to be on Cart Dude.
Yeah, all the pressure is on Carty, but this has shades of Sakito from 2 weeks ago all over it. Truss behind Cart Dude, and Cart Dude defending vehemently. I mean, these two are some of the fairest races we've ever had in this league, and it's good to see this action. I mean, Truss is right up in the bumper of Cart Dude, and Carty isn't giving him an inch. I mean, all Truss having a look there, just having a look into the Melbourne hairpin, but yeah, I mean, to be racing that close up on his bumper, I mean, that's fantastic Truss between both of them. See what I did there, Trev?
Absolutely sharp as you can get, working beautifully tonight, the both of us, Rob. But here we go across the line then into lap 3 of this race. And Truss is just biding his time. He's not having a go through there. And 1:25.5 the lap time for both of them there. Where else would you rather be apart from watching this beautiful battle here between two very fair, very even races? One might say from the neutral perspective, not bad that Cartoon got in front, otherwise we could have seen Truss scoot away at the front. But these two now, and is he going to go around the outside? That's a very brave, bold move there from Truss, and he's not going to make it through there, Rob.
You can see they're going through McLean's. Just Cartoon put the car on the right-hand side of the road there, just giving him no option. If you wanted to go around, you had to go around the outside like two trailer park girls. But we can see here actually Formula Rocks is past sub GT racer, so Formula Rocks is in the hunt. You can see actually Formula Rocks is right. He is actually closing in on the front two there. So we know how good that Ford is in race conditions. They just seem to look after the tyres a lot better, and they just seem to be a bit quicker than in the race. But yeah, Cardi is actually pushing Truss behind there. He's pushing him back to Fallen Rock. So that'll be interesting to see when it shakes out. Fallen Rock still has to make up about 8/10 though, but if anybody can do it, he can. Isn't that right, Trev?
Yes, if anyone can do it, he certainly can. And mandatory pit stop. A little bit early to be talking strategy. No tyre change really required due to the hard tyres pretty much lasting all of this race. But what is happening further down the order? We like to give everybody a mention in the live stream as HSV has made his way up the order. He's gained 2 or 3 places in the opening 4 laps. He's currently up to P9. And he's off chasing Nemo now as a penalty. He's about a second or so down the road. Smokey has been relegated to P10, so still in the points. And Mighty Murph a little bit further behind him. So we always tend to focus on these battles up the front, don't we, Rob? But the battle for the midfield, the battle for the points, is also some pretty close racing and trust there. Commentators curse. We give them some airtime and they let us down all the time, don't they? As soon as we put that camera on them, the pressure just doubles, it intensifies, and Smokey now out of the points, Rob. Unfortunate for him.
Out of the points, but I think Waffles actually got caught up on a first lap incident. Now I saw him in the pit lane earlier, but he's got that pit out of the way, all over and done with, and he's 28 seconds behind the leader, so maybe Waffles could be one to look at here for. I mean, he's the race winner from last week. We know how good he is. He's very, very quick. He should be, honestly, he should probably be on the podium a lot more than he has been in the last couple of races, but he's still got that win in Spa, even though it was well fought for. I think he qualified 11th. He ended up winning due to Fallen Rocks disconnecting from the session, but I mean, he's a fantastic driver, so we'll see how that works out for him. See if I mean, it's an unfortunate undercut, but maybe it might work out for him later in the race. But we've got Truss here. He's actually, he's going backwards and forwards for Card, dude. So it seems like he's trying to make moves. He doesn't want to stick it up the inside and cause an accident, so he's just dropping back and resetting his position. But Full On Rocks is actually catching these two. And that's interesting, and Fubbles is up into 4th now, so that's a good job from our mate, old mate Fubbles there. And yeah, just looking through the field, it's actually pretty tight at the moment, Trev.
There are battles everywhere you look in this race, from 1 to 15, and already plenty of action in this race. And Fubbles, good to see him up in P4, currently sitting in P9 in the Drivers' Championship. Just behind that logjam of points. 3 drivers, of course, on 24 points. Sub-GT, Righty and V8 Man all on 24 points. And 82 points out the front is Jono, a.k.a. Formula 1 Rock, still with a healthy lead in the championship, despite the Russian, or do we call it the Chinese submarine, visiting him last week. Who will it strike this week? Fingers crossed it won't be this man. As Truss then, look at that gap, just 0.2 of a second. Lap 6, he's got to run on him here, Rob.
Yeah, he's got to run on him here. It'll be interesting to see if Cartoon pulls over to the right-hand side. Yeah, he does. Covers off the line, but he's going to be slow through this corner. Getting onto the power early, Truss, as sweet as you like, but he just lost a little bit of time there. But you can see he's working Cartoon as much as he can, trying to force Cartoon into a few mistakes, which Cartoon rarely does. We keep pointing out that he's a real racer in life, Cartoon. Races cars. He's one of the best in the state of Tasmania of the 4 people that live there. But yeah, I mean, oh, there we go. We can add Tasmania to the lest we offend. But yeah, Cardi is one of those racers, a hardcore racer, and and he knows how to defend and he knows how to deal with pressure. But I mean, here's the big pressure behind these two is Form 1 Rocks. He is closing in every time that Truss and Cardi has a little scrap. Truss goes for the overtake and Cardi covers off. They're pushing each other back into Form 1 Rocks here. So it's going. Oh, Form 1 Rocks is in the pits. So he's go for the undercut, Trev.
Well, will the undercut work here tonight? Very early, interesting strategy from Jono there. One might say that he was probably getting a bit held up. We mentioned that Cart Dude was just backing Truss up, who was backing into Jono. So electing to go in the pits very early, only lap 7. We mentioned mandatory pit stops tonight. No need to change tyres if you're on the harder compound. That can get to the end of the race. It's going to be interesting to see how that strategy works out for Formula 1 Rocks, Rob. We made mention in the qualifying session that traffic can be a bit of an issue here. Indeed, some of the slower guys with all those blind corners, a little bit difficult to get out of the way. So he's going to be coming out in P10, which is behind Sub GT, Smokey and Nemo. And Mighty Murph, and they're all in a bit of an interesting battle in the midfield as well. So hopefully, Rob, he doesn't get held up.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't get held up. I mean, from what I can gather, it's about a 20-second pit stop, 2 or 3 here. So even if you don't stop for tyres, you still have to stop in your pit box, and they'll let you go. But yeah, I mean, that's an interesting decision. It could pull off for him, but every time we talk about the undercut or overcut, we say the overcut's going to work or the undercut's going to work. It never works. So we'll leave that commentator's curse out. But I think we've got Tier 2 results through, Trev.
Yes, we do. Big thank you for those results, and we can tell you that Ned won the race in Tier 2 ahead of Chase in P2, Pointy in 3rd, Familiar GTR, I'll get that one right before the evening's out, in 4th, John Dog in 5th, Compact in 6th, Tooley and Deaf Dude DNFing in that race. So big thank you to Sprint Cars 6, whose name escapes me at the moment. I'm sure you'll fill in the blanks for my brain, Rob. It's been one of those days, but there you go, just recapping those Tier 2 results. Ned taking the victory, Chase in 2nd, Pointy in 3rd, and the rest of the results there on the live stream comments. And what's Mighty Murph up to, I hear you ask? Well, he's currently up into P5, and he's chasing down his good friend HSV in P4, and he's made his way up. These two starting outside of the top 10, if I'm not mistaken, and they have been slowly working their way up the order tonight, and it's looking like solid points for these two so far, Rob.
Yeah, it's looking like good points, but let's not forget that Form 1 Rocks has pitted, and he's back in a P6, and we've got, who else has pitted? We've Waffles pitted on lap 1, Andy's pitted, Jason's pitted, Nemo's pitted, and so is Fubbles. So Fubbles and Waffles is actually the big winner here, because it's still in the points after doing the pit stop, and Waffles is looking pretty sharp for maybe a 4th spot if he can get past Fubbles there. But the main battle, oh yeah, Truss has gone into the pit lane. Sorry, I didn't see that, Trev, but yeah, he's come out in P6 there, just in front of Sub GT. That's as close as you want to get, but yeah, I think that's probably a good move from Truss. He had a bad start and he was just sitting behind Cart Dude, but it's going to be, I wonder what Cart Dude is thinking right now. Do I pit? Do I not pit? Trev?
Well, the ball is in Cart Dude's court. Truss just getting ahead. That could be a race changer. He got out ahead of Sub GT and Smokey, and that is going to just be very interesting indeed. Cart Dude, like we mentioned, when does he come in for his pit stop? It's lap 9 out of 25. Formula 1 Rocks starting a bit of a trend. He's currently up in P5 as well. So the question is, when will Cart Dude come in? Still setting pretty good lap times so far. Slipping into the early 126s, a 126.132 on that last lap. And he's gone even quicker with a 126 flat. Lap 10 for him now. And, well, if he's maintaining that gap of nearly 12 seconds, 11.5 to 12 seconds back to V8 man, and if he can maintain that pace, who knows when he will come in. He might choose to continue on as we ride on board now with Mighty Murph, currently in P4, 18 seconds off the lead. And is he going to have a look? He's a bit far back to have a look at Dean there, heading through Redgate in turn 1. And this beautiful flowing section. Plenty of passing opportunities at this circuit. The Melbourne hairpin, one of those. Even these the Craner curves. If you can get a good run on people, who knows what you can do here. But I'll tell you what, Rob, it's going to be interesting to see. That is the big question. When is Car Dude going to come in? And all the while, they're really catching up, aren't they? Despite being in traffic, it's going to be interesting to see when Car Dude finally decides he's going to come in.
Yeah, it's going to be a big decision for Car Dude at the moment. He's still lapping pretty quick there, but Fallen Rocks is about 20 seconds. He's lost about a second this lap just following these two, Mighty Murph and HSV, but I mean, just looking through the field, I mean, it's a action-packed field. I think majority of people have had a pit stop now. Waffles is still in that last points position. I think he probably would want to be a bit further up after winning the race last week. But yeah, Fallen Rocks is looking pretty comfy where he's sitting at the moment. He's not getting involved in the battle out front there. He's just waiting for these two to come and tour the pit lane and just slot into third. But yeah, I'm just wonder what's going through Cart Dude's head now, because he knows how to win races. I mean, he's the champion from last season with the V8 supercar, and we know how good he is. But yeah, I mean, you can last only so long in clear air and get too comfortable and lose seconds to people behind when you need to do a pit stop. So he's got to be pushing as hard as he can, but it's so hard when you're so comfortable in the first position, because you know those guys are pushing, but you just want to make sure you're nursing the car through and not make any mistakes. But yeah, I mean, Fallen Rocks is in a good position here, and so is Truss. Truss has come out behind Fallen Rocks, so you can see actually Fallen Rocks' strategy there, just pitting a lap or two earlier than Truss, has actually worked out for him. But yeah, it's going to be a fascinating end to this race, Trev.
Well, it's heating up out on the track. It's also getting pretty warm in the commentary box here as I almost kicked the phone plug out of my wall. You don't want to do that, because we are enjoying this live stream for everybody at home. It's hotter than the Sahara Desert in here, Rob, in my commentary box at the moment. The fans failed me, so is this plug. Anyway, never mind about that. I've never been to the Sahara Desert, but I'm sure it's very hot. A lot of comments coming in on this live stream saying, where is Jason Wilkinson? We want Wilco. Why isn't he in the points? The question being asked now. They want their man in the points. Well, to answer that question, he's currently 5 seconds off of P10. We just got a little bit of inside information, didn't we, Rob, during the course of the week, saying this is not one of his stronger tracks. And it's no surprise that we haven't seen Big Shep on the comments. Wilco fans leaving in droves, Rob, here tonight.
Yeah, Wilco fans are absolutely disgusted in our old mate Jason Wilkinson. But I mean, we know how good Jason is, but this is such a hard circuit to get lap time out of, Trev. It's well, we've got a pass on here actually, sub GT on Smokey, but yeah, I mean, this is a circuit that's so hard to get right, and I'm not surprised why this wasn't used. It was just used once for a Grand Prix. I mean, they did a lot of testing around here back in the 90s, but it's such a hard circuit to get around, and you need to have that confidence. And I mean, Jason's come off some pretty good results lately. He had a bit of a rough start, but yeah, I think he's hunting Waffles down as quick as he can. But just it's interesting to see that the Fords aren't exactly the quickest around here in the race, Trev.
They are not. If anything, they're struggling a tad, as Connor says, come on Truss for tonight. Let's just recap the order here then. So lap 12 out of 25. I think we might have missed our opportunity to say that half the race is gone, half still to go. But still, let's just recap these results at the moment. It's Cart Dude still out in front. He has not made a pit stop, as HSV and Mighty Murph, who were battling for 4th and 5th respectively, currently make their stops. There goes Dean McKinnon out of the pit lane. So lap 13, Cart Dude in P1. ahead of V8 Man, that gap, maintaining that 15-second gap. Then it's Formula One Rocks, and have a look how close that is. Formula One Rocks in third, ahead of Truss in fourth. So Formula One Rocks has jumped Truss, so that move of the early pit stop has worked for him. Ahead of Smokey in P5, Truss and Smokey both with penalties. And it's getting very, very close, isn't it? Look at this battle. So we have third, fourth, and fifth. Smokey there in fifth, and or fourth, or fifth, sixth, seventh, I should say. As now Truss on your screen, putting all sorts of pressure. Look at that.
He's
through
got
the Melbourne.
Run on F1 here.
He's got a run here, Rob.
Yeah, he's got a run here. He's got a look. He's definitely, that car's so much more quicker than the Ford. He's on, I think that was a little bit of contact there, but yeah, he was on the inside of Formula One Rocks, so you can see how quick that Corvette is out of the slower corners, especially around the Melbourne hairpin, when I think it's just doing around about 40 kilometres an hour, accelerating up to a maximum of 180 before you have to go into the next hairpin again. But Truss is on the move, and he knows he's got a time penalty there, so he's got to go as quick as he can and try and get past Formula Rocks. He knows he's got the pace, and he knows he's got the car underneath him. The Formula Rocks is so hard to get past, Trev.
And interesting, Kart Dude now is just on this screen, but Truss, geez, he's well on the pace. Kart Dude, did he make a mistake there? Very interesting. Did he come into the pits? I don't remember seeing him come into the pits, but
yeah, no.
He had a 15-second lead, and now he's behind V8 Man, who's inherited the lead. He's lost 18 seconds somewhere, so maybe that submarine has come for Kart Dude. But who knows? That's very bizarre, that. But anyway, in the meantime, though, we mentioned Truss setting some good lap times. Formula One Rocks now managing to match those times, mid-125s. So like we said, it's V8 Man in P1, Kart Dude 2.7 seconds behind him in P2 as we count down into the final stages of this race now here at Donnington Park. And interesting, some questions being asked on the stream as some traffic there coming out of the pit lane. Did he spin? I reckon we saw some polystyrene brake marker boards there off the side of the track, Rob, just disintegrating. So the only assumption that I can come to is that he spun.
Yeah, I think just looking at the way that car's reacting, I think he's actually overcooked his tyres. You can see the rear end just slipping about. I mean, it's quite common with the Corvette. It wants to oversteer a lot, but it just doesn't seem very comfortable. He just seems to have just worked him too hard, Trev. The car doesn't look very comfortable at all. He's dropped back so much, and it's so hard after having a spin to keep those tyres in control, especially with temperature. I mean, they just raise so much when you do a 360. You're trying to get back on the circuit. The first thing you want to do is just plant the foot and light them up, but it's terrible for tyre life. But I think Cardi might have actually had a spin there, Trev.
Well, a 1:42.8 was his last lap time. So what's that roughly? That's about 15, between 15 and 18 seconds off the pace last time around. So I reckon your mate out there has. I reckon he's had a spin somewhere off the camera there, Connor. Just to answer your question on the live stream tonight. But here is Truss. Have a look at this battle now. Across the line into lap 15, lap 16 now is the traffic. I'm assuming, is that Womp down the field?
Yep.
Down the field there, currently in P13, our photographer, who has been taking some stunning shots since the beginning of this championship back in Season 1. As Neil Haynes 05, big hello, big welcome to you for the first time this evening on the comments, saying how much of a penalty does Truss and Smokey have? That's going to be an interesting question. That could come into play, couldn't it, later on, Rob? They're so close heading into the final stages of this race tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty close, but I think, oh wow, Kart Dude has actually dropped back again. So yeah, he's got tyre issues there, Trev. I think he's just left a bit too late to have a pit stop. When you come in for a pit stop, the pressures tend to normalise when you don't change tyres, so they cool down a bit. I mean, when you're just trundling down pit lane doing 60 kilometres an hour, you can't really keep any heat into them. But I think he's just left it too late for a pit stop, and now he's just a bit flustered. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how those pit stops work. And wow, the side by side, and Truss knows he has to get past. I was going to say, while you were speaking there, Trev, just at the start of this lap, Truss needs to think about sticking the car down the inside, otherwise he's not going to have any hope of getting the win here, because with that penalty and just sitting behind another car, it's just you're not going to have any hope. I mean, you could still be on the podium, but we know these boys love a good race win, and I mean, Formula One Rocks has taken out about, I think, 75% of the races we've had so far this season. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how those penalties play out, but also how Kart Dude's spins are going to play out for him, if he's going to be able to get back onto the podium or not, Trev.
Well, how good of a move was that? We see plenty of action. There is never a dull moment. That's why we love these cars. We love this championship. And Truss just getting the move done there. I think it was into the Melbourne hairpin. Similar, very Senna-esque move on Prost back in 93 on that opening lap of that particular race. And Kart Dude, he's had all sorts of problems. He's probably, I don't think he still hasn't come into the pits yet. I'm not sure what's happening there, but he may have had tyre issues and indeed a spin. And V8 man, well, he is under all sorts of pressure now as well. 2 seconds slower than Truss on that last lap. And you can see on your screen, visually, you can see the gap closing now. It's down to 0.3 of a second. Truss breathing down his neck. And it's only going to be a matter of time before this move gets done. Indeed, it gets done onto the start-finish straight. And I reckon he's going to have Formula One Rocks as well for company. But V8 man, Dane, not giving an inch, not going away here. Keeping the inside line, going into through red gate at turn 1. And they do a bit of a crisscross move now. Truss, he's going to have better grip on those tyres. Can he hold the inside line heading through turns 2? That keeps Formula One Rocks very interested as well. He says, I'm here as well. Let's go and play. But V8 man holding station there. He's doing pretty well, Rob.
Yeah, he's did a great job, but I don't know why he's racing with these two, because he still has to come in for a pit stop, Trev. So all he's doing is holding up Truss. I mean, it could be just team orders, because Truss and Formula Rocks are in the same team, so he could be holding up Truss so Formula Rocks can get past. But yeah, Truss is around.
And this is incredible stuff. Look at that. We were talking about team orders. V8 man and Formula One Rocks, both for Shake and Bake Racing. And he's playing a bit of a Valtteri Bottas role there, acting as the wingman for Jono. Oh, I tell you what, those Russian submarines and the conspiracy theorists will be just getting on, and I tell you what, it's going to be very suspicious, I'd say, about that one, Rob. But anyway, you can speculate all you want. And Neil, yep, your man, gone. Back into P4 now, 5 seconds off the lead, and that's got Kart Dude interested again. So the man who's been in more trouble than me as a teenage boy is back into the running down the inside. Contact.
Oh, wow, he just sent it, but gee, that's a bit of a risky move from Kart Dude there. He seemed like he had it on there, but Truss just turned the wheel a little bit more, but Truss has the right to do that. He wasn't past the what we call the B pillar. So in racing or in cars you have an A pillar, B pillar and C pillar, and I don't think Kart Dude was 100% past that B pillar, so Truss had the right to hold his line there. But yeah, Kart Dude through on Truss. He's going to be looking to snag some points. I don't know if he's had a pit stop yet or at all yet, Trev, but V8 man definitely hasn't stopped yet. But yeah, how would you be feeling if you're Truss at the moment?
You would not be feeling very good at all, but I tell you what, he's not out of it though, that's for sure. That gap, 5.2 seconds, still 6 laps to go until the end of this one. Mind you, that's still, what's that, about a second or so a lap, so still plenty of work to do for Truss. You can see him there in the background. But currently, Formula One Rocks leading from Kart Dude in P2, V8 man in P3. Good to see him in the top 3. And you've got to say, well, he had not made a pit stop yet. It wasn't really his battle, was it? But he was just helping out his teammate there, his Shake and Bake Racing teammate. And then he got the order, didn't he? Here he goes into the pits now.
Yeah.
He got that order, though, didn't he? That Formula One Rocks is faster than you. Confirm that you've acknowledged that message. But he's into the pits now. And indeed, he has changed the course of the race, hasn't he? This is amazing stuff. We see it every week. We get those middle laps in the middle part of the race, and then the old humding finisher. And Formula One Rocks now back where he is used to, Rob, this season, back into P1, lap 20 out of 25, 5 laps to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think his closest person to him in points at the moment is, I think it's Waffles, who's back in P5, but Waffles has actually climbed through the field there, so he's actually made a good decision pitting early. I don't know why he pitted early. It could have just been for damage, but it's actually worked out into his favour. But yeah, Formula One Rocks is just going to be extending his lead at the moment, Trev.
Well, interesting. We mentioned the Drivers' Championship, and Formula One Rocks indeed still leading that by some 22 points. As I just, apologies for the screen going blank there. My PS4 about to go into rest mode. Not good for anybody watching the live stream. But also, too, the Shake and Bake boys up the top of the Constructors' Championship on 106 points too. So who knows, some cheeky little tactics there perhaps. But Formula One Rocks so far this season, first. Not finishing last week, and then could be first tonight if the positions stay as they are. So he's either hero or zero, isn't he? And unfortunately, due to his internet connection problems, he's been robbed of a fair few points over the course of the first 3 seasons of these championships for SRL, which is disappointing for him. And V8 man then after his pit stop down to P7. Still not bad though, managing to help out his teammate as well. But have a look at this battle now. Smokey in P9, Sub GT ahead of him, just over a second, separating 8th, 9th and 10th, with Mighty Murph a couple of seconds further back outside of the points. And these battles right down the order, not just the first 3 guys, but right down to this battle we're currently watching. Like I said, P8, 9 and 10. The battle for points is intense, Rob.
Yeah, the battle for points is intense. I think last lap Mighty Murph was actually the fastest person on the circuit during the last lap. So Mighty Murph is not out of this at all at the moment. He's still wanting to get that last points paying position. But yeah, this is looking like a nice little battle here. Just looking through the list, and I think this is the one we're going to have to look out for, because I think Formula One Rocks, I don't want to say he's got it in the bag, but it's looking pretty likely. Hopefully that's not a commentator's curse, but yeah, Formula One Rocks is looking pretty comfortable. I still don't know if Cart Dude's actually pitted yet. Might be leaving that one for a bit late, but if he does need to pit, that's going to put him behind Jason Wilkinson, Trev.
Could he be doing something sneaky? Who could forget Michael Schumacher? I think it was the British Grand Prix. He had a bit of a time penalty and decided to come in on the very last lap of the race. But this is the closest battle on the circuit. Let's just recap. Sub GT ahead of Smokey on your screen in the Corvette. Then it is HSV a little bit further back behind him. And don't forget about Mighty Murph in P11. Still hunting for that final points paying position. I don't want to say it. I don't want to tempt fate. And I like Jono too much to say that he is definitely a shoe-in for this race. In fact, I think we've got a bit of a record going, Rob. Talk about the commentator's curse. It is a real thing, because every time we've said that for the last 3 weeks, the whoever's in the lead at that particular stage that we've mentioned that comment has disappeared completely from the face of the earth. And hashtag Cart Dude Nation. Cart Dude saying, I don't need to make a pit stop. He still hasn't made a pit stop, has he? But enough about that. Let's have a look at this Smokey battle. And it is heating up. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Smokey on the outside. Sub GT on the inside. Oh, Smokey. Just Sub GT putting some manners on him. Just saying, put your manners back in. He is not getting through there. Down to the Melbourne hairpin. And one of the better opportunities to pass on this circuit. So this battle for P8 on your screen is keeping Smokey, HSV and Mighty Murph interested. And for the final few positions, 3 laps to go until the end of this one. And just the hashtags coming through thick and fast. And Rob, hashtag Cart Dude Nation. Everybody get behind him. Let's get that trending. And then Connor saying, let's go Trust, let's go Trust, let's go. He's 4.5 seconds off the lead. Anything can happen in this championship and in these races, Rob. And it usually does.
Oh, absolutely beautiful. We haven't done too many references tonight there, Trev. I think we've just been too busy looking at some action-packed grids, but this has just been an absolute great race. I mean, there's been some really good battles through the midfield, and just looking at these timing sheets again, I mean, Smokey and Sub GT, that's going to be heating up again, very shortly. But yeah, Cart Dude is closing in on Full On Rocks here, Trev.
Well, he is. That gap 1.4 seconds now. Just 2 laps to go. That's right, about 6 or so kilometres until the end of this one. And HSV now in P11. Oh, look at that. Mighty Murphy snuck ahead of HSV. So the Kiwi, the New Zealander, up into P10. The Brendan Hartley fan. He is in P10 and looking for that final points paying position. Very quick on that last lap too with a 126.1 for Mighty Murph. But have a look at this battle out front. Formula One Rocks now just less than a second ahead of Cart Dude, who we still think is yet to make his pit stop. And Sprint Cars 6 says 6 different winners from 6 different races in Tier 2. It's a bit of a mixed bag of lollies. That's what we love. We love the variety. We love the different winners. Julian, big hello to you, who just left the comment saying Kiwi. We haven't paid homage to the great Murray Walker. You said too, Rob. And of all places at Donnington Park, that great call back in 93. Senna! My goodness! Yes! There we go, a little bit of Murray Walker for you, but we are approaching the final lap of this race now, and my goodness.
Put 8/10 on Full On Rocks there, Trev. This is on.
It's on like Donkey Kong down into turn 1 through a red gate. 0.3 of a second now, that gap. So, Formula One Rocks getting nothing for free. Cart Dude keeping him honest through the last lap of this race as we ride on board now with Cart Dude. Everybody's favourite Tasmanian says, hey, what about me? He lost about 18 or 20 seconds during the course of this race with different spins and other incidents as well. And thank you, Connor, for the nice comments. But we can see there, my goodness, look at those last laps. He's just almost pulled a second on him. And have a look at this, 0.2 of a second. Nothing in it on the last lap of this race here at Donnington Park. Only a few corners.
Win it or bin it.
Win it or bin it. Cart Dude. What can he do? All through the S's now. The final lap of this race. Can Cart Dude? I tell you what, he's going to spoil things for us if he dives off into the pit lane, isn't he, on the last lap? But through the Melbourne hairpin for the final time here tonight. And I reckon it's going to be mighty, mighty close, but I reckon Formula One Rocks might have him here. Is Cart Dude going to dive off into the pit lane? No, he's not. Through the last corner. Out of the last corner, across the line. And it's Formula One Rocks getting back to winning ways here at Donnington Park in round 5 of SRL. Truss taking third ahead of Fubbles in P4, coming around the last corner now. And Formula One Rocks, he's going to be having more fun than Kimi Räikkönen at an FIA awards ceremony tonight after that victory. He's back on the winners list. And V8 man, boy, he played a role in this race too, didn't he, with that incident with Truss. Team tactics a little bit naughty, but it's still, there's nothing that says you can't do that. The Shake and Bake boys getting together, and they still will be leading the Constructors' Championship at the end of this race. And it's Sub GT winning that battle ahead of Smokey in P9. And it's HSV who's gone up to P9, I beg your pardon, ahead of Smokey. So one just having more of a penalty than the other there. Mighty Murph back down to P11. Andy in P12. Ahead of Womp, our official photographer, in P13. But let's bring Andy home. Here comes Andy. We haven't called his name much tonight, Rob, but he comes across the start-finish line, lights flashing. You've made it to the stream. You have achieved everything you wanted to here tonight. Not in the points, but still, you got a mention with us, and that's just about as good as it gets on this live stream tonight. Let's have a look at those final results. It was Formula One Rocks getting back onto the winners list where he is so used to being tonight ahead of Cart Dude. 0.6 of a second. Who, he did make a pit stop there. We must have missed that, Rob, but Truss in P3. Don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to get the top 3 in the party chat. And it's Waffles in P4 ahead of Fubbles in P5. Those two swapping places there, I think, must have been something to do with penalties. Wilco, not too bad there, P6. Big Shep will be happy with that, and Wilco fans out there, not one of his better circuits, ahead of V8 Man 51 in P7. Not a bad result for him in the end. And Sub GT P8, 9th and 10th. That was an tense battle, wasn't it? And then Mighty Murph just outside of the points. Andy in P12. We saw Andy come home ahead of Womp in 13th. Those are the results. But it was Formula One Rocks taking victory tonight. And he's back where he belongs, Rob.
Yeah, he's back on top, and he's just extending his points margin. We've been joking in a few chats we've had that he'd probably be winning this championship with 5 races to go, and it's kind of looking like that at the moment, Trev. But yeah, he's been absolutely exceptional, and again, he wasn't the fastest around this circuit, but he just raced better than everybody else. So I mean, you can't take anything away from Full On Rocks, and a good recovery drive from our mate Kart Dude as well. I think that's going to be a little bit of confidence coming his way, but Truss is probably the biggest loser out of this. But we'll invite these boys in, and just looking at the comments, Kart Dude says, when you try your best but you don't succeed. Oh, Jesus. But yeah, we'll get these boys in, and we'll just talk to them, and yeah, just that was a ripper of a race there, Trev, wasn't it?
Yes, it certainly was. And as Brody joins the party, don't give up your day job, Rob. Good full points for trying there with that singing. And Wilco up and about on the stream post-race. When you try your best but don't succeed. Yes, we've got all 3 boys, have we? I think we're waiting on Jono, I think. We've got Truss and Kart Dude in the lobby, in the party chat, I should say, at the moment, Rob. And if you've got any questions, we'll just welcome you in, Kart Dude. P2, mate, you couldn't quite get there tonight, but still a good result for you.
Yeah, I guess so.
Great insight there, Brody. Thanks for that. That's riveting stuff. Now, we might just go straight across to the winner. Jono, big hello to you, mate. What a race. It wasn't without its difficulties, but you managed to get back into P1, mate, after the disappointment last week, and back on the winners list again in this season.
Yeah, thanks, fellas. It was a pretty hard race. Real intense. Really hard to pass anyone. Hard to get a run. Well done to the other boys. It was a good race.
And talk us through the key moment. Oh, sorry, Rob, go for it.
I was going to say, that looked like an absolute ripper of the race there, but when you got past, I think it was Smokey, I think lap 4 or 5, did you think that you had the pace to catch Kart Dude and Truss, who were battling for first and second early on in the race, or did you just think maybe I'll just keep my nose clean and see how strategy works out?
Yeah, those first few laps were all about seeing if you can keep up with the top team. And sort of I started pretty slow, then I started to gain a bit, but I assume that was because those boys were battling a bit. So, yeah, every race is about keeping it clean, so just away.
It sure is, mate, and you are the absolute master of it. Now, I say this all the time, but looking ahead to next week, mate, completely different track, isn't it, from Donnington to the Côte d'Azur in Monaco. How do you fancy your chances around there, mate? But I was going to say that wondering how you're going to go around there, but you're pretty dominant on this game anywhere you are, mate. Anywhere you rock up, you seem to be able to get the job done.
Thanks, mate. I don't know about Monaco, though. It'd be pretty... I've hardly ever raced on this game. Not in a F1 car, so we'll see what happens. I don't know.
We will see what happens indeed, mate. Jono, congratulations again, mate. Back on the winners list, like we've mentioned. Congratulations for tonight there at Donnington for the victory, and all the best for next week.
Thanks, boys. Have a good one.
You too. Take care. Boy, these boys can just talk the leg off a chair, can't they, Rob? But anyway, we're going to head across now to Truss, who's in P3. Truss, are you there?
Yeah, mate.
Fantastic, mate. Talk us through your race. A little bit of a controversial incident. You got caught in a shake and bake sandwich there, mate. Tell us what happened.
Well, the start was pretty dodgy. I got a shocking start, and then Cart got in front of me, and I was a bit quicker than him in parts of the track, and I just, trying to find a way past it. So I thought I'd pit and try the undercut basically, and then F1's come through, and I got stuck behind him, and his car was a bit slidey in that hairpin in that last corner. But I mean, if you're gonna block and win races like that, that's pretty poor. Like, I got damage out of that last corner incident when I hit him in the arse. Like, I'm on the inside. If you're just going to take my nose off, I won't just do it clean. It was lap after lap after lap. It ruined my race completely. So that's what it is. But I'm still happy with third, still finishing the podium. But still got a race clean.
Trust, just to say, mate, I don't know if you know this, but during qualifying you actually set a world record time for the PS4. Well done, mate.
I thought it was a 23.6, the lap record, but yeah, if I've done it, I've done it. So I'll have to go back to time trials and have another go at it.
It was a 23.8 that you did set. I think that was your provisional pole position time. Then you just absolutely killed it again with a 123.7. And I think by our records, Truss and Rob, that it was a 123.9, I think. We'll have to get that confirmed. But anyway, mate, either way, you're still absolutely killing it around the track and showing some good pace. And bad luck tonight, mate. You're involved in your fair share of incidents, not of your own making, like you mentioned. But still P3, mate, like you said, on the podium. And hopefully you can get back into the top 2 next week, mate.
Too easy, mate.
Awesome, thank you. Big thanks to the top 3, Jono, Cart Dude and Truss, for joining us. A few comments coming in on the live stream. 16 people watching it. Rick, Jason, Connor, and everyone else. Rick as well. Yep, like I mentioned, the Elliott boys on there up and about. And just saying, some of the most entertaining race we've seen in a long time, Rob. They love this stuff. And it's, we mentioned Mr. Consistency as well. F1 Rocks wins again. And he is Mr. Consistency, that's for sure. But we're almost out of time here, Rob, tonight. Not quite as long as last week. But fantastic performance by your good self yet again, Rob.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll take the great performance. We should be on a radio show. I think we could probably do a radio show there, Trev. But it was a good race tonight, really entertaining. And I mean, the first part and the last part and the midfield pack. I mean, the battles around this circuit were absolutely spectacular to watch. So we roll on next week. I'm not sure what the next circuit is, Trev, but it's going to be exciting for sure.
We will be heading, I can tell you, for you, Rob, and everyone watching at home, that next week we're heading to the beautiful Monaco circuit, or the Azua GP. It is a super sprint round, 2 races of 11 laps. That will be live and exclusive on this channel. Don't forget to subscribe and do all that sort of stuff, like this video. And don't forget, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time on the 20th of December. And that is our last round before we go off and have a well-deserved break at Christmas and New Year. So don't forget to tune in for that. Everyone will be looking to get a good result in before that Christmas break. And before we're back on the 10th of January. But we're just about done here, ladies and gentlemen. It's been fantastic to have your company again for another week. Don't forget, we've still got some spots open. If you just want to watch us, head to www.supremeracingleague.com to get involved in this wonderful, wonderful championship. But for the moment, it's bye for now, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.